Building a mock server usually means maintaining a separate code base. Most developers know the pain. You want to prototype a frontend, but you are blocked waiting for your backend. Or worse, you build a throwaway mock that can't be maintained over time. We knew the problem, so we thought, let's fix it. Meet Mock Server, our open source answer to this problem. So, our open source tool can basically convert a Swagger file into a fully functional backend in seconds. Let's look how you can achieve that. First of all, you will have to create a project. I'm naming the project as URL shortener. The next thing that we are going to do is going to upload the OpenAPI spec for the Swagger file. And there you can see all the endpoints are being loaded up. Even you can test one of these. See, we are getting a good response. You can also create routes and API mocks directly or manually using the Create API button. You can even set auth for the entire project or disable it, and for any particular endpoint, you can enable or disable auth. For example, this route doesn't need auth, so we can access it directly. But this route needs auth. And as you can see in the header, we can see the mention of the authorization header. So if we remove it, we are going to see an error. But if it's present, you're going to get the correct response. The most interesting part in this project is response switching. For example, if you look at this endpoint, right now, it has the status of 201. So the response is coming for the response status of 201. This one, great. But if we switch the response, then you can see the whole thing has changed. So let's see the other part of the spectrum, that is webhooks. Yes, apart from endpoints, you can also test webhooks in this mock server. So click on the add-ons and then test webhooks, and you will be redirected to this page. You have to select the project, and remember, when you create a project, we auto create a webhook in that case. So one webhook is already created. Let's create one more. Yeah, and let's now label them because that's important. Yeah, and let's name the other one as. So we also give you an API playground to kind of test that, but you can test them on Postman or anywhere else. For example, I'm going to test the first webhook right now. And if I close that, you can see I just got that entire thing. And look, here is that body. Now I'm going to test for the second webhook, and remember the endpoint end with 2, so I'm just going to change it to 2, and here you can see that same thing over here. So there are a couple of features, like you can pin it, you can download all the logs, like all the requests in one file, and you can delete them, yeah, and you can clear them so that you can start testing from again. So yeah, this is webhooks in mock server. So the goal behind the mock server wasn't just to serve you mock endpoints. We actually built it to introduce a new developer workflow that unlocks the full potential of the AI tools in your stack. You can generate as many Swagger files as you need, and you can test your backend without the environment being set up in the existing flow. But it goes further. In a full stack ecosystem, start by using mock server as your backend. With the custom prompts from our tool, you can automatically connect to the mock admin APIs. You can build the admin panel right away. Similarly, take your Figma designs or interface files and build your mobile app or frontend using the custom prompt tools we provide. Test the entire flow end to end, all while mock server handles the backend. Then, once you're ready, use our backend specific prompts to replace the mock server with a production grade server. Same logic, same structure, just swap the mock for a real thing. That's how you seamlessly transition from prototype to production. So, since the mock server is up and running, the next thing we are going to focus on is how we can create applications on top of this mock server. We are going to do that using prompts, and we are going to create two applications in this demo. The first one is admin frontend, and the second one is frontend. For the frontend, we have a set of Figma files which we are going to use in the process. So let's go ahead and see how we do that. Right now, we are going to explore how we can create the admin panel frontend. We're going to build this on top of Nuxt. But before that, we should explore the mock server a little, because that would help us understand something called is admin endpoint. Now, if you check this as admin endpoint, what happens is it tells us a admin prefix has got that as admin endpoint, because that's by design of this mock server. It picks that up. But now there is one more thing that you need to do, like what are the pages that you need in the mock server? Like you need to see a bunch of users, and then you may need to do some operations on them. You also want to see all the links that are there in the system, and you may also want to see the analytics. So what you have to do in that case is, if you want the users page, just go over here, enable admin panel page, and just hit save. Here, enable admin panel page, save, and same for the analytics page here. Now, since they are done, you head back to the prompt. Yeah. Now, as you can see, we have got this big prompt, but what we are going to do is not copy it, but download the whole project prompt itself. So see, I've just downloaded it. I have also given a setup guide, so you can basically follow the steps on how to do it. I'm going to use Cloud Code for this demo, and what we have to do is unzip the file, go to the folder, and open code. And inside Cloud Code, we just have to say that execute the workflow in the project.md file. So I have just copied it and gone to downloads. But before that, let me just go over here. Let me unzip it first. Yeah, so it's unzipped. It has a prompt folder in it, which has a workflow folder, inside which there's a code which has a reference of entire project and project.md. So what I'm going to do is, I'm going to go to my terminal and go to the folder admin frontend Nuxt.js, and I'm going to open the VS Code. Then open this and open my Cloud Code. I have the Cloud Code extension, so I'm going to use that. I'm going to paste that and hit run. Then I'm going to wait, and it is going to do everything step by step, and I'm going to wait and see it. So as you can see, it's reading out the file and thinking out what it has to execute. So my project already gives it like a set of things that it needs to create, and Cloud Code by itself also makes this whole step-by-step execution a little better. So right now our server is ready and you can see the entire structure of the project. And if you open the env file, it actually has a base URI that talks to the mock server's backend. Uh, so let's just go ahead and run the server here. So since our server is running at port 3000, let's open it here. So here is my email and here is my password. Now you can see the pages that I ask for, the users, links, and the analytics. And the response that you see over here are actually the response of these endpoints. Great, we just got the admin panel front end done. And right now, let's focus on the front end. Now note, in admin panel front end, we were not asked anything about the design because we provide it by default. But in front end, it's a lot focused on design. So we should have the Figma files or the interface files ready to be put in. Now, the way we have designed this project is that you need to add few components and then you can add the pages. Basically, you can just go ahead and keep on adding the pages, but creating the components helps the LLM make the project in a way that you would want it. So let's just go ahead and create the first component. It's a URL shortener. So if you see, this is my entire project. And if I had to divide it into components, I would get a navigation bar. There is a auth model component, and there is a link component that's again a model. So we can use this as components, and what we can do is we can create our first component with a navigation bar. So I have fast forwarded the entire step, and as you can see, I have created 3 components as discussed, and I have also created 4 pages that are a part of this URL shortener project. If I open this navigation bar, I can basically show you what I have done. I have created a component name, then I have added 2 images. One is for a non-authenticated state, and one is for authenticated state where you can see the shortened URLs link and the profiles link. I have described it really well here. So, and if you look at the page, I have kind of used an interface where the entire component and everything is used, and I have described it very well. And then I have also given a route, and in components I have also written out the components that are being used. So this is how the entire structure is in case of frontend, where the interface files or the Figma files are really important. The process is the same, that you download the entire project prompt and then you unzip it. So it's unzipped right now. And then we can go ahead into the folder. Open it over here. Again, I'm using Cloud Code. So just going to hit run. It is going to kind of generate the step-by-step execution, and Cloud Code is really excellent in this. So I'm hopeful of getting a great interface that connects to the mock server directly. Cool. So right now our project is ready, and you can look at the components. It has created the exact same components as we wanted: the navigation bar, the auth model, the link model, and the 4 pages that we needed. The next thing we are going to do is we're going to basically run the server. So pm run dev, and it's running at port 3000. So we are going to go to localhost 3000, and you can see this exactly the same thing that we wanted. Just go ahead, check it. Yeah, see, I can see my profile, I can see the shortened URLs. So all of that is there. Now, since this is done and we have the front end and since we have the front end and the admin panel ready, the next thing we have to do is test it throughout. And if we are finding anything missing, then we should edit it manually or prompt it to get the right thing quickly. Once we have found that everything is working fine, then the next step is basically to go to the prompts again, go to the backend, and create a backend that would effectively place the mock server. That's the final step, and we are done. So, while working, we figured out a problem with the static documentation. It requires you to create a manual environment to be set up before you can make a single request. And we fixed that. So I have selected the URL shortener, which is basically the project that I'm using for the entire demo. And then you will be asked to select an environment. Now, Sandbox is auto-created when you create a project. So right now Sandbox is selected, but if you want to create a new environment, you can do that, like staging, production. So you need to give the heading because it's better in that case. So I'm just going to give the heading as URL shortener, and there is a primary font and there is a code font and theme. So this is done. I'm just saving changes to the page. So we offer this in two particular ways. One, if you want to integrate it as a widget. So if you want to integrate it as a widget, what happens is, let's say this is the page and I want the widget over here. So I get it in this format. But we also allow you to have the documentation in basically full page. So in that case, you can just click on the expand to full page, and you can see we give you a direct documentation URL, and you can see basically the whole documentation takes the entire page. You can go to any part of the documentation you want. So that's the basics. We kind of hide the integration guide in that case because we provide you the direct URI, but you can still use it. Like you can just use the script and give a div tag, and it can automatically create that entire page for you. There are a few other options over here, like allow postman download. Like if you take this, and right now if I refresh the page, what happens is I give you a downloadable postman collection JSON. So you can basically use that to test this entire thing in Postman in that case. There are other features like display entities, which I don't have right now, and primary documentation that in the env file, if you set isDocs equals to true, then whenever the whole project loads up, it basically redirects every page to this particular documentation. So your project goes into a documentation mode. That's the primary use case of this particular checkbox over here. So the main part that we are talking about, the documentation, is these documentations comes with a live URL. So basically, this is a health endpoint, and right now, if I just take the curl command over here and I run it directly in my terminal, you can see I get it. So without setting up anything, any environment, I get a response directly. That's the beauty of this mock server's documentation. So let's go ahead and explore this very important feature that we have, that is setting custom responses for particular endpoints. So if we go ahead and see this particular endpoint, it has a status of 200. So in order to test it, what I'm going to do is I'm going to look at the curl command, copy it, and paste it over here. You can see the message as success. So right now what we are going to do is we're going to take this status of 410 and set it as active. So that same command gives me this response, all live from this documentation. So that's another great feature that we have at the documentation of the mock server. Setting up the mock server is really easy. First, you need to clone the project. Then, you need to set up the core folders and install the dependencies. And then, you need to run the server. Finally, the tool will be accessible at localhost: 4001. That's the default port. This is how you get your mock server ready.